Lucamus Prime here, so it is time for another episode of my Star Wars 30-week challenge today. So this is the next episode of a series, and today's question is asking me, what is my favourite episode of Star Wars Rebels? Now, this is quite an easy question for me because, I don't think any episode has topped this one in my personal opinion, and for those you don't know, my favourite episode of Star Wars Rebels is most definitely the Series 2 finale called Twilight of the Apprentice. So yeah, this is my favourite series finale of all the 4 seasons of Rebels, most definitely, and yeah, I'm going to gush about it because it is an amazing series finale. Like, what a way to end Series 2. It's like, this episode, alongside many other moments in Series 2, makes Series 2 my favourite Rebels season, and yeah, I'm going to tell you why. So, what about this is, there's so many good things to talk about, really. One highlight that I can definitely mention is the return of Maul, which is pretty cool. I had a feeling we'd be seeing him again, most definitely, because, he wasn't killed off in Series 6 of the Clone Wars. And because Rebels was of course released before the Clone Wars Series 7, it was pretty cool to see Maul come back, yeah. And I liked how he pretended to be a hermit, which was pretty cool, and he was manipulating Ezra. That was pretty cool, but when I noticed the yellow eyes under his hood and a bit of, the red markings on him and the black markings, yeah, I knew that was Maul. And it was pretty cool, actually, to see him come back, and I gotta say as well, it was also pretty shocking when he blinded Kanan. I mean, I knew Maul betrayed him because, well, it's Maul, what do you expect? He's a double-crosser, isn't he? Betrayer. He's not a very nice guy, is he? And yeah, but because I played the Force Unleashed game, guys, and of course, I'm of course where Jedi Master Ram Kota got blind, and he could still see despite being blind through the Force. I kind of knew that Kanan would also be able to see with the Force as well. So yeah, but it was still pretty sad to see Kanan go blind. Yeah, poor Kanan. I mean, because sight, in my opinion, guys, is the worst sense to lose because it renders you unable to do many things that you can do with your eyes. Being able to see. So yeah, I felt really bad for Kanan, but luckily thanks to the Force he was able to see with the Force. So yeah, but I still felt sorry for him. And another thing as well, guys, now but in my humble opinion, the number one best moment of the episode and of the entire Rebel show was definitely Ahsoka's confrontation with Darth Vader. Like, oh wow, what an amazing moment that was. That's one of my favourite moments in all of Star Wars, guys. It really is. And so yeah, I love how the duel first of all begins with Darth Vader arriving in the ancient temple, where he confronts Ezra, and they have a brief duel, and he easily overpowers Ezra. And one of my favourite lines ever spoken by Darth Vader, guys, most definitely is when Ezra says to him, I don't fear you, and then Darth Vader then says, then you will die braver than most. And then they continue dueling, and then he overpowers Ezra and destroys his lightsaber. Oh, wow. Like, that line was absolutely badass. It really was. It was absolutely brilliant, and I loved it. And then, of course, but before he can finish off Ezra, Ahsoka stops him. And one part that, hurt a bit was when, he said to Ahsoka, Anakin Skywalker was weak. I destroyed him. But yeah, that really hurts a lot. And I gotta say that, this confrontation, and of course Maul's scenes, and especially Maul's scenes in Series 3, of course, they have such a bigger meaning when you watch Series 7 of the Clone Wars. Like, oh wow. Oh. But then after, after Ahsoka then says, then I will avenge his death, Vader then says, revenge is not the Jedi way. But then Ahsoka says, I am no Jedi, and then she ignites her dual lightsabers. Oh, wow. Then again, absolutely epic duel. And another highlight is definitely Kevin Kiner music score. I really loved it. I love how in this duel he included the Imperial March at some point. That was really good. And then at one point as well, of course, we then got to see Ahsoka slashing Darth Vader's helmet, and then she then realises that he's Anakin Skywalker, which was pretty cool. And, but one thing that really confused me, though, guys, was that when you see Anakin Skywalker's eye through the helmet, he had an eyebrow. But I'm thinking, hold on a second, didn't his eyebrows get burnt off in Revenge of the Sith? Yeah. And as well, when you watch Return of the Jedi, when Luke unmasks him, he also has no eyebrows in a special edition because they got removed, to make sense because of a burning. But for some weird reason, he had an eyebrow in Rebel Series 2, but I believe they put it in there as a way to indicate that he's Anakin Skywalker to allow Ahsoka to recognise him, maybe. Yeah, I think that's what we said. And another thing as well that I'm glad about is, because, unpopular opinion, I dislike Matt Lanter as Anakin Skywalker, and he of course voiced him for the lines he had in this scene, I am glad they still, had James Earl Jones say the lines at the same time as Matt Lanter, which is why you can still hear the Darth Vader machine when Matt Lanter is speaking. Although, to be honest, they use more Matt Lanter than James Earl Jones for those lines that he says, where he calls out to Ahsoka and then says, "Then you will die." You can hear mostly of Lanter, but there is a video by a YouTuber called Star Wars Story where he's edited, the "Then you will die" line in different intensities, and it's worth checking out because, for those you wondering, I like his third edit of the line in that video where he does 4 edits of the line. The first one's the original one, then he does 3 edits, and my favourite is, the second edit where it's both of them speaking at the same time. Like, it's really chilling, and I wish we used that in the episode, but yeah. And I especially as well love the music that plays when Vader walks up to Ahsoka, and Ezra's saying, "Ahsoka!" But then Ahsoka shuts the collapsing door of the wall, yeah. The music was brilliant, and yeah. I of course knew that Vader would survive because, obviously because he's in the original trilogy of Star Wars, so yeah. And plus as well, I was also wondering if this was really the end of Ahsoka, but of course, if you watch Series 4 of Rebels, you will know it's not the end of Ahsoka because Ezra saves her by dragging her into that, realm between worlds, the world between worlds, yeah. Then of course she shows up in Mandalorian Series 2, yeah. And she's got her own show coming. But yeah. And sadly, however, guys, this was the last appearance of James Earl Jones as Darth Vader in Rebels until, of course, Rogue One. But yeah, it was definitely an amazing performance by James Earl Jones. Like he's still got it as Darth Vader, he really has. And I'm so glad they got him back for Rebels. I'm so happy they did that, yeah. Because without James Earl Jones, you just don't have Darth Vader. You just don't, because he is Darth Vader. There's no question about that. But yeah. Anyway, guys, that is my favourite episode of Rebels, most definitely, and I love it so much, yeah. So, guys, this is me answering my question of what is my favourite episode of Star Wars Rebels as part of my Star Wars 30 week challenge. So, drill, guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to let me know in my comments what your favourite episode of Rebels is. I'd love to hear what your favourite episode is. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe for more videos coming in the future, and may the Force be with you always.